So I hopped on Indeed this week to see how the entry-level job market is doing. And here's what I found. I started by doing a basic search for software engineers and filtered by entry level in my local area. Then, scrolling through the results, it was not uncommon to find one of two crazy requirements. One is the overinflated entry level opening asking for a 4-year college degree, which, in my opinion, is completely insane if you just need someone moving pixels around. And the second pattern was a bit more nefarious. Those who said education or equivalent experience, which is also equally insane because when you're starting out, how do you even get that experience? So if even the formally educated are facing an uphill battle, what does that mean for the self-taught developers out there? Is that even possible for them to still get hired in today's market? That's why I brought on DeJour Ford, who got his first job as a software engineer after watching just YouTube videos and practicing a lot. So make sure to stay until the end where he recommends some tools, services, organizations, and people who helped him make that dream possible. Hey, DeJour, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So here on the Junior Jobs Podcast, we're all about unpacking the job search journey of recently hired junior developers. So before we get into the details of your story, can you give me a brief overview of how you learned to code, how long it took you, and maybe any major milestones along the way?
Yeah, so first I'd say it took me probably a little over a year and a half or so. I have no technical background. I should start with that. I have no technical background at all. I was a pre-med student. I was going to be a physician assistant, and then COVID hit. When COVID hit, I was like, I don't want to be on the front line of all this anymore. And my wife also didn't like it either. She didn't like the idea that I was basically sacrificing my life for other people, and I have a whole family at home. So I had to find something different. I have a friend who's he's in cybersecurity. So at first I started with cybersecurity. It was the most boring thing ever. I was reading, it was boring. It was just boring. So then he was like, you don't have to do cybersecurity. There's other things you can do. So I immediately went to TikTok. I went to TikTok and I just typed in tech jobs. And then, everyone's saying, oh, do this, highest paying, da, da, da. The only thing that caught my attention, though, was web development. So I typed in web development in YouTube, and I found the Odin Project, and I found Free Code Camp. And then from there, I just dove in, and yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
That's my story.
So we were talking before this, didn't realize this, DeJour, that we're actually both in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The meetup that I help co-organize is actually a break-off of the Free Code Camp group. So they are big.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a lot of representation from that organization. We've had some of the founding members attend. So definitely can't recommend Free Code Camp enough.
Yeah, Free Code Camp was great. That was great. Also,
so
100 devs too. I tried that as well.
Odin Project, 100 devs, Free Code Camp, all great resources. So then, to clarify then, you didn't get a 4-year college degree in a technical field. Did you go to a coding boot camp, or are you 100% self-taught?
Yeah, I just used internet. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so just 100% self-taught. I mean, I do have a degree, but it's unrelated. It's in biology, so has nothing to do with tech.
So then, when you are approaching the job search, a lot of it is about convincing employers that you actually know what you're talking about, right? So a 4-year degree helps with that. A boot camp certification to a degree. When you approach these conversations, how did you convince them that you actually knew what you're doing if all you had done is, look at YouTube videos?
Yeah, so I think the main thing that kind of put me over the hill was I started creating a stock application. So prior to the stock application, I just had static websites that I had built. I did use some JavaScript for I have a e-commerce website. So, you can add things to the cart, remove it, this, that, and the third. And then when I was going into interviews with that type of stuff, I wasn't really getting the type of responses and excitement that I was getting when I had the application on my resume, for example. So needless to say, I networked with someone who was already in the field, and then they told me, I said, hey, can you just look at my projects and my resume and tell me why you think it's so hard for me to get a job? He looked at my resume and he was like, I don't see anything wrong with your resume. And he was like, let me look at your portfolio. So he looked at my portfolio and he was like, I can tell that your front end work is good, but when you get an actual job, they're not going to look for someone who can just make static websites. I want to see an application. And then when he said that, I was like, oh. So, I started thinking of ideas. I created a stock application. Every interview that I went into, when I went into it with the stock application, that was what they honed in on, whoa, how'd you create this? What does it do?
Okay. Yeah.
And it kind of helps that I kind of did a play off of the Robinhood app, which is, relatable for a lot of people. A lot of people know about stock and investing. So that's what people liked.
And to confirm, that project that you used, that stock application,
Yeah.
that was something that was purely your idea, or did you follow some tutorial to create that project?
No, I started documenting my journey on LinkedIn, like from start to fit. Well, on LinkedIn it wasn't from start, because that was kind of embarrassing, to start from
Yeah,
scratch,
yeah.
But it was from maybe like after I had already been doing it for like a week or so. But
Okay.
no, it was completely my idea. Every feature that I have in there, like everything that I did was just off the top of the head. Like I was just coding and I was, maybe I should do this. I mean, like, let me see. Like right here, I literally have it written down. So I was at work one day when I worked in a pharmacy, and I wrote down, the all of the features I wanted to have. I even have like a little wireframe of how I wanted the app to look like. I crossed this one out. So I was, man, like when he told
Yeah.
me that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make an application.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
and that's the big thing because yeah, there's no tutorial for anything that I do at work. There are tutorials for snippets of it, like if I forget how to, I don't know, work with dates in JavaScript. I always forget how to work with dates in JavaScript. Yeah, I can look at that little snippet of it, but like the whole comprehensive idea and how to pull it all together, each company's tech stack is so completely different. They need to know that you're comfortable diving into the unknown and
exactly,
figuring things out on the fly.
exactly.
Okay, so you built that stock app, and then leaning into trying to understand the actual series of events that led to the opportunity that you have now. Help me understand. Was that like a blind job application, or was that this friend that worked in cybersecurity that referred you on, or the other networking contact? Kind of how did that conversation begin with your current employer?
So my current employer, it was basically from Blind Networking. So I mean, I was on LinkedIn and I seen that I worked for Sally Beauty. So I seen that Sally Beauty was hiring and it was for a front end dev position. So I was like, let me find someone who works there. So I just went to the LinkedIn page and I looked for the employees that work there, and it's a small team, like 5 or so developers. So it was easy to reach out to all of them. So I reached out to one guy. Well, I reached out to everyone, and I didn't know who put my name in the pot, but someone gave my resume to the hiring manager, and I didn't know at the time, but now I know that it's my now manager. So when I reached out
Okay.
to him, he never responded to me, which is why I didn't know who sent, who gave me the referral. But he said he saw my message and everything, and he thought I'd be a great fit. So he just, blindly gave my resume to the hiring manager, and then she reached out to me.
So to unpack that a little bit more, you saw the job opening
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Okay. And then you went into the company website and like filtered by software engineers, some keyword, and then
No,
message them? Or how did you find those 5 people to talk to?
I went to LinkedIn. I went to Sally Beauty's LinkedIn page, and then I clicked on like employees, and then I filtered by front end developer because that was the role that they were hiring for. And then only like 4 or 5 people showed up because it's a small team. So
Yeah.
I messaged all 4 of those people, and no one responded. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a dead end. And then like I'd say probably it took a while. I want to say it was probably like 6 months after I had reached out, where I got a call from the hiring manager. She was like, hey, email. She emailed me like, hey, I'm from Sally Beauty and I want to know if you'd be interested in interviewing. I thought it was a scam because it
Like,
was
"Hey,
6
yeah,
months
I'd be
later.
interested.
Yeah, it was so long though. I thought it was a scam. I was like, this is fake.
I mean, it takes a while to plant the seeds when you talk about networking and building, relationships of trust. You kind of don't know where your next opportunity is going to come from. So, take me and step back even from there, because looking at your LinkedIn here, you have a very interesting story to me. Because you mentioned that you're talking about Sally Beauty, Sally Beatty, Sally
Sally
Beauty,
Beauty. Yeah.
Sally Beauty right now. You worked for 4 months as a junior front end developer before that.
I still work there.
You still work there, okay. And then you were a web content creator before that. Each one of these was just a few months. So I assume by the time Sally Beauty saw your application, you already had a couple of line items on your resume on your LinkedIn that showcased evidence of you being a trusted developer. So let's rewind a little bit then to the web content coordinator role. I stop me if I'm wrong. I perceive that as like that is the one that like you broke the barrier, you made it in.
Yeah.
Because right before that, I see a certified pharmacy technician
Yeah.
for Walgreens. So talk to me about University of North Texas web content coordinator. What are the series of events that led to that very first one?
Yeah. So that position, it was to me, it was basically more of a content management role. So you really didn't need to know how to code to get that position, but knowing how to code really did help you with, have a leg up. Because, I didn't need to be trained really. Like I just had to be trained on we use Drupal and then Omni, which are both like university content management systems or whatever. Yeah, so I had an interview with UNT, and the interview went seamless because I was like technically overqualified for the role. Like when I was there, I didn't code at all. I
Oh,
didn't do.
you were an alumni of the school even.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
also
yeah,
helped me too a little bit, you know. But
yeah.
I didn't use. There was no code involved, you know, no JavaScript. There was little CSS, like little, like most of it was just basically, it was just Bootstrap, but it was already kind of pre written. It was weird. Honestly, like I tell everyone, like you could get that job not even knowing how to code. It
Yeah,
wasn't difficult at all.
and that's the important thing, right? Because the first job doesn't have to be software engineering. It just needs to be tech adjacent enough so that when the second or third opportunity comes around, you have something relevant to put on your resume,
Yeah,
relevant to what your dream job eventually is. And that might be, 2 or 3 jobs down the line.
yeah,
So I love the fact that you started out like that because I'm just thinking about my own story. Right now, I'm a back-end developer, but my first job in tech was a 4-hour-a-week unpaid internship doing mostly like HTML updates for like SEO optimization.
yeah,
And like not related at all, but it was technically like, front-end SEO specialist. Like
yeah,
it was web development related. And my second job was I was a teacher's assistant for the university I went to. I was doing 10 hours a week building a little app for my professor, a mobile app. Not related to the backend work I'm doing now, but I could still put, mobile developer or whatever, even
yeah.
if it's just 10 hours a week. You just got to start wherever you can, man.
Yeah, that's all it is. You know, that first job is never gonna be, you know, the ideal job. Like the pay was crap. The
Yeah,
benefits were
yeah.
great, but the pay was horrible. The job was boring. And, you know, I kind of felt like I was regressing in a way, but then I was like, no, this is what I need to do to, you know, bust through the barrier. And after that, like I said, getting calls from recruiters or like just having people respond to my messages was a lot easier because they would go to my LinkedIn and say, okay, he's doing something. As opposed to before,
Yeah.
they'd be like, wait, he's not even in tech. He's in
Yeah, they
medical.
see a
What is he
degree,
doing?
it's something completely unrelated. Like, yeah,
What is
your
he
LinkedIn
doing?
is yeah, it's your LinkedIn, your resume, oftentimes I would say is less about where you've been and should be more about where you're going.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even say like you're an aspiring software developer or even say you're a junior software developer. You'll see the student software developer. You'll see that in
Yeah.
people's headlines and titles. No, you're a software developer. Let the company figure out your skill level. You don't need to, sell yourself short like that.
Yeah.
So University of North Texas, you had some relationship there because you were an alumni. So that was definitely in your favor. Rewinding even further back though, how did you find that? How did you actually get in the seat for that interview? Where did you find that opening and where did you apply?
That one was a code application. So I tried to reach out, and apparently, if the way she operates is that if someone reaches out, she kind of just ignores it. You know, she doesn't want any, referrals and everything doesn't work with her. She just goes straight through applications, which are fine. But I just cold applied to that position. I saw they were hiring. I saw web content coordinator. It just said HTML, CSS. So I was like, okay. So I code applied there, and I think she called me back. She was on vacation when I applied, so she called me back right when she got back, which was like maybe a week and a half later or so. And then I think it took like a month because everything with universities is so slow. Like them getting me onboarded, it is so slow. So it took me like a month before I actually started.
Sure, I can definitely see that. And then where did you find the opening? Was there a specific job board that you used?
I want to say that I found the opening on LinkedIn. Like I think I initially
Okay.
saw it on LinkedIn, but it was an external one. So it was like you go to LinkedIn and then it still pushes you out to the actual UNT
Sure,
website
sure.
to apply.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So, getting to summarize what I'm hearing here, and stop me where I'm wrong, de jure, but the networking that you did sounds like it was great at helping you refine your job search to a specific focus, web development. And it helped you get feedback on your LinkedIn and resume so that you were more effective in each application. But the jobs actually came from cold applying.
The
Well, I'm
first
sorry.
one, the first one,
The first one, cold applying. Yeah, and then the one I'm talking about for Sally Beauty was through a LinkedIn message. Is that
Yeah,
like a good summary there?
Yeah, the second two were from networking. So the first one was just code applying. The
Mhm.
second job that I have, I currently still have it. That job, I reached out to one of the developers that I saw she recently got promoted. So I was like, well, hey, she recently got promoted and they're hiring, so they're probably trying to fill her position. So I reached
Okay,
out to her and
okay.
I was like, hey, is the position open on your team? Is it because you got promoted? And she was like, yeah, actually, you know, and I was like, oh, well, congratulations, you know.
Oh my gosh,
You know,
yeah.
you have to say
So personal.
Yeah, you have to say congratulations to keep the conversation going, you know? So it was congratulations, by the way. And then it was like, would you by chance be the manager on the team now? And she was like, yeah, the position is open and it's for my team. So then I just said, oh, you know, thank you for the information. You know, I did apply, by the way. Just left it at that. You know, I didn't want to be too, you know, too pushy.
Too pushy.
You know, so I was just like, you know, you know, thank you. So then I got a call 2 days later from the hiring manager from there. He was like, hey, I talked to so-and-so. She reached out and said that she talked to you on LinkedIn and you were looking for a position. And that's how that happened.
Yeah, and this is somebody you didn't know beforehand.
I didn't know, no, didn't know her at all.
So on one hand, it's interesting to me because we talk about how networking can take a while. So I'll say things that like you need to start right away at the beginning of your boot camp or the beginning of your journey, building relationships. And that's true. The earlier you start, the better, because it can take a long time. But at the same time, networking doesn't take as long as people think that it might take.
That's
right?
true.
These are just a few messages that you send out on LinkedIn to strangers, and they referred you, right? And I just have to wonder some of the motivations behind that, right? What is the motivation for a stranger to refer you to a role? Have you talked to them at all about why they went with you? Did that conversation come up at all?
It actually didn't. If I had to guess, though, I would just have to assume just, you know, how personable I was, you know, because I didn't come across as like, hey, I just want a job. That's why I'm talking to you. You know, I was actually having a conversation, actually talking to you. I think that's it. I think the biggest thing with networking is just not only trying to build a relationship with someone, but actually connecting with them in some way, like giving them something that they can remember you by. So when I reached out to her and said, hey, congratulations on your position, by the way, most people probably didn't congratulate her. You know, she was probably like, what? Congratulations.
I see you're hiring. Here's my resume. Give me a job.
Exactly.
That was probably what most communication was.
Exactly. So, and then a lot of times I reached out like, even to, you probably know him. His name's Brandon. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's with the meetups with you guys. So even him, when I reached out to him, I had to reach out to him like, I think I messaged him like 3 times, you know, because I was just trying to find a mentor at the time. And I think I reached out to him, and then it was kind of like around New Year's. So he kind of like was like, you know, hey, reach out to me again, like after the New Year, we'll see, you know, we'll see what's what. And in my head, I was like, oh, he's testing me. Like he thinks that I'm not serious. So literally it was like January 1st, I reached out and I was like, hey, don't forget about me. Now I was serious. And then he even told me, you know, I like the, you know, I like how you were so persistent about it. You know, it shows that you're, you know, you're actually serious about it. And I was like, for sure. So, you know, he, you know, gave me some pointers and everything. And then shortly after that, we kind of like lost touch, you know, but yeah, it was just the fact that you have to be persistent. Networking isn't, you know, no one's just going to give you a job.
Yeah. So we talked about how you found some of these connections just through LinkedIn and then looking up the company and finding the people and sending messages to them. Finding a mentor, though, that's its own different beast. Braden, love this guy.
Yeah, he was cool.
How did you find him, though? I mean, he's not advertising openings, I don't assume.
No. I found him through Danny Thompson. Like I think I saw him in a video with Danny Thompson, and then it's another guy who has like blonde hair, the long blonde hair, and he wears the glasses. He's also an influencer. I forgot his name, but he has the blonde hair. And he does a lot of podcasting, but anyways, though, so yeah, so I found him through both of them. And then I was like, oh, he seems like a pretty cool guy, you know, so let me just, you know, reach out to him, see where he lives. And he also lives in the Dallas area, which is why I was like, okay, I'm reaching out to him. He lives close to me. And that's how that happened. But if he didn't live locally to me, I probably would not have reached out.
All right. So rewinding that again, though. So you found Braden by talking to Danny. How did you connect with Danny?
No, I didn't talk to Danny.
Oh, you didn't talk to
LinkedIn. It was through LinkedIn. You know how, you know, people, you can see people's activity and things when they comment and things.
Okay.
Yeah, so I saw something like that. It was, I forgot how, but somehow I found Braden through Danny.
Okay, like Braden commented on one of Danny's posts or vice versa.
Something like that. So
and
I knew,
reached out to him there, yeah.
Yeah, so I knew his face and I knew his name, but I didn't reach out to him then. And then I saw the guy that I'm talking about with like the blonde hair. He was on his podcast. And I was like, oh, this guy must be someone, like a speaker or something, because I saw him on Danny's, now I see him on his. So let me look him up. I looked him up, and it said, I think he lived, it said like Dallas or something. And I was like, wait, he lives locally. Okay. Let me hit him up.
So Braden Coyer, I'll include his LinkedIn even in the episode description if you want to connect with him. If you're in DFW, he's a great guy.
He is.
Yeah, he definitely helps with our meetups too sometimes. Danny Thompson also, I've had an episode with him. wonderful individual, has a great story of breaking into tech after working at a
Yeah,
frying
the
chicken
gas
in a
station,
gas
right? Yeah.
station. Yeah, yeah. I love that story. Okay, well, so this is a nice way to kind of wrap up the episode here because I like to give each of the people that come on an opportunity to give any shout outs to any uh, services, tools, community members, organizations that help them in the search. We already listed two, Braden Coyer, Danny Thompson. We listed a few organizations at the beginning of the episode, but any others you want to make sure we give a special shout out to?
Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head other than they were really big as far as motivation.
Yeah,
I
Odin
watched
Project, 100 Devs,
yeah
free code camp.
the Odin Project,
Yeah.
100 Dev, Free Code Camp. What was it? Programming with Ma, I think. Coding with
Okay.
Mosh, programming with Mosh, something like that.
Okay, I'm not too familiar with that, but if you can shoot me a link, I'll put that in the description too.
Yeah, him as well. Yeah, I think that's it for the most part.
Okay. Well, Dejor, thank you for coming on and sharing that story. It was great talking to you.
It was nice talking to you as well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to all that are listening. It's all the time that we have. So we will see you all next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Junior Jobs Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe as that helps us reach more developers in need. And don't forget to check the show notes for details on today's sponsor and other job search services that we provide.